Okay, you see the blood filling the cup. Devon's guarding the rear. And 1 hit point. That's it.
Yeah.
1 hit point of damage. Nothing happens.
Can I understand the cup is in the middle of the door, of the gate? What is?
It's right in the center of this stone door.
Yeah.
About 3.5 feet up from the ground. It's just right in the center. It's this little cup. Do you examine the cup?
I want to examine to check if it can be turned around like a knob or something. It can be moved. It can be turned. I don't know. I want to check it.
It feels like it's completely solid and part of the wall, but it's obviously not because it's metal. And this is a stone, but there must be something there that's holding inside of the door that's holding the cup in place.
I will. Just generally asking, how many hit points would it take to fill it up all the way?
All the way, it might, based on what you just did there, it might take maybe 3, maybe 4.
All right, I'll do no more than 5 hit points into the cup.
All right, after about 4, it starts to overflow. So you lost a total of 4 hit points.
Okay, nothing.
Something happens. As the cup fills with your blood, suddenly there's a silence. After about 3-4 seconds, you hear this rumble. Suddenly, this stone slab begins to shake, and you start to see stones and dirt fall from all around its perimeter. And suddenly, it begins to slowly disappear to the right. It starts to pull itself open. So there's about 2.5 feet space where you can peer inside of the tunnel itself. It has opened. Devon gets excited. What was that? What did you do?
All right, using my dark vision, what do I see?
You peer through the portal. Immediately in front of you, you're confronted with the image I've just presented. It's a very worn cavern. And there is actually some water, a little water, seeping down on the right. You can see that in the image. Mm-hmm. The tunnel descends deep below the hill. Stonework here is crude and unfinished. There's water obviously seeping in from the right. To the left, you can see what looks like it might have been wooden beams that at one time might have held up a wall. The walls themselves look overgrown and some of it is collapsed, but it looks like there might at one time have been actual stone built into the wall. It's long since fallen down. And on the ground, you also see what looks like what might have been stones that were laid to make a more perfect room. But it looks overgrown and almost collapsible. Do you descend? What is your marching order and such?
First thing I'm going to do is just wrap up my hand real quick.
Devon says, what did you do? He can offer healing. But then again, so can Killian. He has lay on of hands, 5 points worth.
Yes, I will offer healing to Trey.
I'll just hold out my hand and accept it.
Perfect.
All right, you're going to use lay on of hands? Okay, let me give you a quick rundown, just so you know how this works.
Yeah, sure.
Basically, you're blessed with a touch to heal wounds. You have a pool of healing power that replenishes when you take a long rest. Your pool is 5 points at this point. It's based on your paladin level times 5. Level 1 times 5, 5 points. As an action, like during combat, for instance, you can touch a creature and draw power from your pool and restore a number of hit points to that creature, up to the maximum amount remaining in your pool. So he lost, what did I say, 4 hit points?
Yeah, a total of 4.
So he just replenished. How many points do you want to give up, Killian?
Give him full strength. We may need it.
All right. So your current lay on of hand points is now 1. You have 1 left.
Yeah. How do you replenish this during?
You take a long rest, which is like an 8-hour sleep.
Okay.
All right. So the marching order is Lore, followed by Killian, followed by Devon. He's going to draw out his mace, and he's going to cast a light spell on it so that the tip of it actually glows, so that 20 feet in front of you, it's just bright light, and you can see beyond that another 20 feet. So he's at the rear, but you do have light going up 40 feet.
All right.
Anyway, this is what you see. Now, are you ready to descend into this so-called Vault of Pallon to Pius?
Sure. Of course.
After descending the tunnel for about 50 feet, you're down this rickety tunnel, it opens up into a much larger chamber. With an exit in the northeast. Okay. The floor here is littered with loose stones, bones, and debris. A thin layer of briny ooze coats the place. To the northwest, you discover a small chamber containing piles of rags, debris, a broken table, it looks like, and an old fire pit, long out of use, as well as some empty casks. All right, so the exit in the northeast that I was talking about is that little gray shot that goes, you can see it, it's right in the northeast.
Yep.
And then it comes to an end. You'll have to take a peek in there if you want to see what lies beyond. But anyway, this area, this chamber, this is how big it is. And in the northwest is where you see the table, the fire pit, debris, piles of things. There's a pile of rags or something up here at the top. What would you like to do?
I just kind of want to look around and see if I can find any paperwork or anything that might identify what this is.
I mean, it doesn't look like a cave of a wealthy thief. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look correct.
Well, would you like to investigate the piles of wood, the piles of rags, maybe poke around the fire pit, or just knock over some of the casks and see if anything falls out?
Yeah. I'm just looking for anything that might be identifying.
Tell me specifically what you want to investigate. And while you're doing this, Killian.
Yeah.
Killian, there's this strange, overwhelming feeling as you sat here. You're looking over this debris. You feel almost compelled to start talking about something from your past, some great wrong you might have done. It's overwhelming. Do you do so?
Really?
Yes. I mean, you don't have to do it, but there's this big urge to reveal something wrong that you did in the past.
Well,
the sweat begins to drip from your forehead. This need is growing inside you. Devin kind of looks over at you with concern. He notices something's up. Killian, what's the matter?
the truth is that I have this feeling I had before. I chose a solitary life, not only to meditate, but to hide from my hunters, from the people who were hunting me to kill me.
Oh. Isn't it kind of odd to be relating such tales now, Killian? Says Devin. The urge is overwhelming, Killian. You just... There's something more needs to be said.
I cannot avoid it. I cannot stop it. These people were hunting me because of what I am. Because of what I did, and because of what I may do in the future.
And with that, as you relate this tale and your friends hear this, you suddenly feel this overwhelming sense of relief. Like the sweat ceases from your forehead and you feel an unease lifted from you. Lord Torin, what are you doing?
I'm still looking through everything.
All right. You do notice some skeletal remains close to the exit of this chamber, not the entrance, but the exit, there is a skeleton there. Would you like to poke around and see what's going on, or?
Yeah, let's look around through the skeletal remains, see what interesting things are there.
Devin sees what you're doing, and he kind of turns towards you, looking perplexed at the story that Killian just revealed. He sees you head towards this skeleton. He also comes over, and he's going to check it out. You don't see this, Lore, but Devin points out that there, look, clutching in the hand of the skeletal is this palm-sized stone, and it looks like it has some words carved on it, written in common. It says, "Wrongtious." He says, that's a bit odd. I wonder what that means.
Wrongtious.
And also, Lord Torrin, you didn't find it, but you're heading over towards the sand pit, or not, the fire pit, and doesn't seem to be anything out of place there. You kick over some casks, there's nothing going on. There's a pile of rags in the furthest part, and there's actually some, looks like some fungus growing around it as well. Would you like to poke the rags?
Yeah, I'll use the tip of my spear and just kind of poke around it.
All right, you poke around it. Doesn't seem to be anything moving around or nothing unusual in there. Killian, what are you doing?
What is there to search?
Well, you could search the pile of rags with Lore.
No, I want to check the fireplace. This fire, just to poke around the fireplace. There's a fireplace there, we said, correct? Or
Yeah,
some
a little
type of-
fire pit over in the western portion of the room. You can poke that around.
Yeah,
You see some burnt embers, long since burnt. Definitely nothing recent inside of this room. There's nothing unusual. You poke around inside the dirt and ash inside the pit. There's nothing in there outside of the usual to be expected. Stones and ash. Behind you is a pile of wood. You feel free to poke around that as well.
yeah, sure. Let's check.
You throw away. Most of it's rotten. Probably from the condensation in here. It's kind of wet. But no, it's nothing unusual hidden under it that you find. Nothing out of place.
I'm surprised. I'm telling to my friends that this doesn't look like a cave of a rich bandit. Something is wrong.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I want to check out all of the walls and see if there's like any hidden passages.
You run yourself along the walls. It's going to take some time. I'm going to mark off some time for this.
Extra thorough.
It takes about an hour of searching in this chamber, checking all the walls, kicking around the debris and everything else. You don't find anything unusual about the walls. There's no doors pushing in or revealing themselves or anything like that. Killian, what are you doing while he's doing this? Are you helping him?
Now, what about if we move further north from the chamber? Is there anything there?
There's an exit to the northwest. If you want to go down that tunnel, that'll take you out of here, so it seems anyway.
There's an exit.
Yeah.
So let us see what is in the other side of the cave. Maybe there's something there.
All right, you head down the passage, leaving this chamber. Devin is bringing up the rear, holding the light. As you draw close to this chamber and peer in, you note that unlike the entryway, this chamber features carefully built stone walls. Some craftsmanship is evident in the stonework here, and the far wall suggests the frame of a door, sealed by a rock. Heaps of stones sit on the floor in piles of the room. Do you enter?
Yeah.
Again, there's these piles of rock just seem to be built up in here, and it does look like there is an exit with another, from this distance, it looks like another stone door.
Does it appear to have a cup in it?
No.
Okay.
Are you going up to the door?
I want to walk around the walls and just look at everything first before we start getting crazy.
All right, you can go around the wall. As you do so, you bypass the door and start moving along the north and easterly portions of the wall. Devin's holding up the rear. He's staying at the entry door, keeping his eye peeled from behind. As you scan, running your fingers along the wall, you feel the sweat build on your forehead. You stop for a second. You pause. You feel this urge of guilt and needing to release this guilt come about you. You feel it deep inside you. If you don't say something about some wrong that you did in your past, you feel like it's going to eat you up inside. You stop and you pause and you turn towards Killian. What do?
I don't say anything.
All right, you pause and you hold it in, and the sweat just keeps dripping from you, and you hold it back. You hold your head up. You move on. You have 1 point of exhaustion.
What? Okay.
I check the stone piles. I don't know what's under there. Just move a couple of stones and check what's happening there.
Okay. Just to let you know what exhaustion is, Nick. It's measured in 6 levels. An effect can give a creature 1 or more levels of exhaustion. Laura just incurred 1 level of exhaustion, which means this. He has disadvantage on ability checks. So anytime he makes a straight-up ability check, including skill checks, he's at disadvantage until that exhaustion subsides. It can get worse, but I'm not going to get into it. He just incurred 1 level of it, and he'll jot that down. Disadvantage on ability checks.
Okay.
Finishing a long rest reduces a creature's exhaustion level by 1, provided that creature has also ingested some food and drink. So it's something that's going to stick with him for the rest of the adventure until he sleeps. Or, healing spell. An effect that removes exhaustion reduces its level of specified. Plain healing won't do that. It has to be something that specifically says removes exhaustion. All right. Now, what were you doing, Killian?
Check the stone piles there. See what there is under there.
They're piles of stone, and they all have carvings. Something written on them.
Can I read them or no? Sort of language.
They say Wrongtious. Same as that stone that was found earlier, being clutched by the skeleton. They're all inscribed with the word Wrongtious written in common. And they look to be no more than 5 or 6 inches along an edge, so they're not very big stones. And Laura, you go around the entire perimeter while he's doing this, and nothing stands out unusual, except that there's some of the stones have some nice craftsmanship to them. There was definitely some effort put into constructing this chamber. And by the way, the ceiling in this chamber looks to be about 20 foot high, whereas the other chambers, which were more falling apart and much smaller, not as well kept, they look like they might have been 10 or 15 feet to the ceiling, and that's about it, and that's rough. But this one seems more better preserved and better constructed. You do know that.
Okay. I'll go up to the door, and what's the door look like?
The recessed door looks solid, just as solid as the front one. In fact, it looks to be some kind of natural stone slab guarding this portal. No visible mechanism to open it. However, to the right of the door, and you see this immediately, kind of like built into the side of the wall. And again, this door is recessed, so there's a little area there. There's a hole no bigger than maybe 6 inches across. An inscription near the hole reads, in common, "Do wrong to begin judgment. Do wrong again to do right." You might want to write that down.
I'm gonna walk over to Killian and just like take something off of him.
Describe it.
I'll just walk over and I'll just like reach into his pocket and just try and grab some coins or something. Just do a quick sleight of hand.
Okay, make your sleight of hand. Killian, make a wisdom perception. I'll do it for you. You have a -1 with a d20. What'd you get?
Total of 10.
Killian is oblivious. Pondering these small stones and what's written on them, you easily slide your hand through one of his pockets. You manage to slip a coin. You got a gold piece.
Okay, does anything happen?
No, nothing seems to happen.
We're still in the chamber. Okay.
Yes, Lord Torn had a little encounter with guilt. He seems to have overcome it now. He is exhausted. He scanned the rooms, noting the craftsmanship, the fine craftsmanship to the room's walls. You've noticed that the stones all have Wrongshus written on them. The exact same thing that was written on the stone in the other room, clutched in the hands of a skeletal body. And Lord Torn just investigated the door, which is basically a stone slab. Did you hear my description of the door?
No, sorry about this, because I was with the dog.
The recessed door looks very solid. In fact, it looks to be some kind of natural stone slab guarding the portal, with no visible mechanisms to open it. However, to the right of the door is a hole no bigger than, say, about 6 inches across. An inscription near the hole reads, "Do wrong to begin judgment. Do wrong again to do right." While you were looking at these stones, this is what Lord Torn was gibbering about the door as he came over to you and is also looking at the stones at the moment.
Do wrong.
And then after about a few seconds of us pondering, you just kind of hear Lord Torn, "Well, that didn't do nothing."
Okay, yes. Do wrong. So this door basically does not open, obviously, at the moment. Do wrong.
I'm gonna walk over and grab one of the stones that say Wrongshus and see if I can fit it into that hole in the recess.
It's just the right size. You could pop it right in.
Does it do anything?
Are you popping it in?
Yeah.
There is a sudden quiet in the stone as the stone disappears down the hole dropped by Lore. Killian, you're watching this. Where exactly are you?
I am behind him.
Then, without warning, there is a blinding flash of light. Everybody make a Constitution check.
A check or a save?
This is a check.
Okay.
And you have penalty on this. Disadvantage.
So even with disadvantage, it's still an 18.
Okay, you're fine. As the light fills the room, I gotta check for Devin. Devin lets out a scream of horror and reaches to his eyes. There is a blinding flash of light that you guys see. It lasts only a couple seconds. It fills the chamber, and to those paying attention, it also seems to go outside of the chamber as well. It's an overwhelming bright light. Then, just as sudden, the light dissipates.
Is the door open?
Devin screams, "I'm blind! I can't see!" Suddenly, there is an unease that fills the air after Devin speaks. You catch a sudden movement of darkness from the corners of your eyes. Even with Devin's light, shadows begin to move, but nothing is there when you look towards the movement. The air becomes thick, and your hearts begin to pound in fear for some reason. Something is happening. There, along the walls, 3 grotesque humanoid shapes
Shit.
of black shadow begin to rise from the walls and take form. As they grow and transform, you feel a sense of dread and doom overwhelm you.
Alright, I'm gonna run over towards Devin and kind of stand next to him, draw my sword.
This 3 times is what begins to appear before you.
Ugly motherfucker.
And it's humanoid in size, and there's 3 of them coming from opposite parts of the wall. Everybody roll initiative.
Fantastic. I will crush those skulls. Roll for me, my friend.
It's a D20 plus your dex bonus.
Alright, I got a total of 11.
All right, so you both got 11. You have a dex bonus, Lore, of what?
+2.
All right, so you go before Killian.
Yes.
He goes before you.
Okay, so I go after.
So it's going to be Lore, followed by Killian, followed by the blind Devin. This is the screen for battle. There's a little thing showing behind it. Let me get rid of that. All right, so there's Devin. He's at the door. And then we've got Killian. Where were you? There's 3 piles of rocks. There's one up here.
Where is the door with the inscription? The door with the inscription is where?
The north. It's right in the north.
I was behind when he was putting the stones in the gap. I was behind him.
Right. So we'll put you. Is that okay, or do you want me to?
Yeah, that's fine.
I will keep you there.
Yeah.
Oops. So there's the 3 of you.
That's nice. And where are the monsters?
There is one right here. There's one way over here you see taking shape. This is clear to you. Let's see, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Yeah, you could see him with your torch. Torch is down here. So that shadow is taking shape right there. And then there's one right here. I want everyone to make a wisdom savings throw.
Now, I don't have disadvantage on this, just ability checks.
You don't have a disadvantage on this, no.
Oh, nice. Okay, so total of 20.
Okay, you're good. And so are you, Killian?
In wisdom?
This is a wisdom savings throw. So you passed yours. Devin is unfortunate.
I passed mine also. Good.
He feels a magical threat envelop his body. Even through blindness, he feels like he's being overcome by some kind of magical force. His skin begins to curl and tinge, and he falls down to his knees. Ah! And screams.
Poor Devin. Poor Devin.
Let's remember he's also blind. And he's about human-sized, maybe a little bit larger, but they're definitely grotesque looking, and they're basically just these you can't see through them. They're totally black humanoid shapes that are pulling themselves off of the wall, and they're beginning to move towards you. And Lord Torrin, this is what happens after this great bright flash of light and the screaming of Devin as he falls to his knees, blinded, screaming. What do you do?
All right, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run over to the one closest to Devin, and I'm gonna try and get between it and him.
All right, you go around him. So it's 5, 10, 15, 20 for your second diagonal.
Mm-hmm.
25.
And then just pop right there between, yeah.
Okay, good. So you can make opportunity attacks and so on. All right, good move.
I'm gonna move up. Well, yeah, I'll just stay where I am. How far away is that thing from me?
He's 10 feet away.
Okay. I'm gonna toss my spear at him.
Okay, make an attack roll. Ranged attack.
A total of 14.
You hit.
So that's 1d6. Total 5 points damage.
All right, your spear lets fly, and it sinks past the creature and comes off the wall, but you definitely hit it, but it seems to not notice it. You definitely did some kind of damage to it, but it seemed like it not as much as it could have. All right, with that, we go to Killian. You're next.
Well, I draw my short bow, and I shoot at the one on my left, or the opposite side, the one that Lauren shot.
The one that Lord Torrin threw his spear at?
No, the other one, the other side.
The other side.
Yeah.
All right, is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 feet away. You're within your normal range. So go ahead and roll a d20, which you don't have, so let me roll that. One attack, you're going to be adding your dexterity to this, and your dexterity minus what?
Dexterity is 0.
Right.
Is 11, yeah.
You rolled a total of 7. So your arrow lets fly and shoots off into the darkness towards this shape, and you shot it too high, and it clings off the wall above it. And you want to move. You have 30 feet of movement.
I want to move towards this my target.
All right, you're going to be drawing your weapon at the same time. It's free if you move.
Yes, I'm going to draw
your melee weapon.
my axe and my shield.
Okay. So 5, 10, 15, 20. And you're right in range of it. You can't attack because you just attacked. Next up, the creature that you just advanced on, Killian. And by the way, there's complete silence about these creatures. They don't make any noise whatsoever. All right, it reaches out to you with this black clawed-like hand. It reaches out to you as if to attack. What is your armor class?
Second county points. Armor class 16 plus 2. I have here.
You easily deflect its claw attacks with your. You have a shield out?
Yes, I have a shield. Yeah.
All right, I'll let you have that. All right, so you easily deflect it with your shield. It does not hit you. In the meantime, over by you, Lore, this one blackened creature. Let's see. Okay, rapidly moves towards you. It moved about 40 feet there, and it does likewise. It lets out a series of grasping blows towards you. What is your armor class?
16.
And it does manage to hit you. You take 5 points of necrotic damage. Plus, there's something unusual about these claw attacks that strike your flesh. In addition, you take 4 points of strength damage. So make a note somewhere that your strength score has dropped 4 points. Now, since you are a fighter, if you have heavy armor, it's going to affect you. Your new strength score is literally going to apply. You know what I mean if you have heavy armor.
Yeah. No, I'm wearing medium armor right now, so I think I'm okay.
All right, you're so good. And just as a note, if your strength score, if it drops to 0 or less, you die.
Okay.
So be cautious of this. Finally, there is another one of these black shapes that also moves towards you, Lord Torrin. and also begins a series of clawing attacks with its shadowy hands. Fortunately, you're able to deflect them. You are safe for the moment. Finally, we have Devon screaming and having no clue what is going on. Let me double check his blindness. Now, this is the effect. A blinded creature can't see and automatically fails any ability check that requires sight. Attack rolls against the creature, the blind person, have advantage, and the creature's attack rolls have a disadvantage. So, listening to the sounds around him in the battle and hearing the voice of his friends, Lord Torin, there, forward, in front of you, pulls up his mace, jumps up on his feet again. He was prone, so half his movement is gone, and he moves straight forward to attack whatever is in front of him. He has disadvantage to this attack roll. He makes an attack with his disadvantage. He rolled an 18. Oh, he rolled a 17. He hits with modifiers, does hit the black beast, the creature.
Fantastic. Blind.
He's using his mace for this. He gets 1d6 plus 2 for damage. He does hit it. He rolled a 1. Plus 2 is 3 points of bludgeoning damage, which for some reason, Laura, you see him whap into this shadow, and it goes through the shadow, but it obviously dissipated some of the blackness and energy in this creature and did something, but it didn't seem like it did as much as it could have done. And with that, Lore, you are up.
All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to whip out my trusty hand axes. All right, so
okay.
First attack is a natural 1. Bonus is a total of 16.
Okay, you hit easily.
For a total of 4 points of damage.
What kind?
See, I think that's slashing.
Your axes? Yeah, it's slashing. And you did, what was it, 4?
Yep.
All right. Okay, again, what should have crippled and maimed a normal target doesn't seem to be as effective against these black shadow-like creatures. But you did hit, and it markedly dissipated somewhat.
Right. And then I'm going to action surge.
Action surge. Starting at second level, you can push yourself beyond your normal limits for the moment. On your turn, you can take one additional action on top of your regular action and a possible bonus action. So everybody has an action and a bonus action. If you action surge, you get 2 actions and a bonus action. So you just take it. Whatever action you want to take, you can take it.
I want to dodge action.
All right, dodge.
It imposes disadvantage on all attack rolls against me until the start of my next turn.
Okay, so you're disadvantaged to hit you.
Yep.
Next, Killian, you see all this stuff going on, but looking in front of you more immediately is this black shadow-like creature that you seem to have done some, well, you didn't do any damage to. Sorry, you missed with your bow. You are free to attack. Now, wait a minute. Let's check out your, just out of curiosity, let's check out your abilities real quick. You got that lay on of hands. You have that dark thirst, which is a bite attack. I don't know if that's useful against them.
I was thinking that I'm seeing my comrades fighting with swords and weapons or whatever, and they're getting not the hits that they were supposed to get. So let me attack them, let me bite them, let me see if there is anything there.
Before you do this, I want you to remember you have a special trait, and it's called undead resistance.
Yes, I have this,
This is important, and this is why. You have advantage on saving throws against disease, and you have resistance against necrotic damage. That last part is very important. You have resistance, which means all damage against you that's necrotic is halved, rounded down.
Yes, I know, I remember. Yep.
That's important. Now, the dark thirst. Basically, you can make a bite as an unarmed attack against against an incapacitated creature or one you have grappled. So in order to use this, you have to grapple him first, which is an athletic test against his athletics or acrobatics check. Mm-hmm. But not really worth it in this situation.
No, it's not. Let me attack with my axe then.
All right, go for it.
Well,
I got to roll for you. You get one attack.
You go for it, girl.
You're going to add your strength bonus to this, which is what?
Yeah, 1 second. Let me check the strength bonus. 1 second. My strength bonus is 2.
All right, so 11 plus 2 is 13. And I believe that is a hit. It's 1d8 plus 2 slashing. I believe that's two-handed, isn't it?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. No, it's single.
The great axe is double-handed.
It says it's versatile.
It's both.
So if you use it two-handed, it's 1d10 damage.
Yeah, but he's got a shield out right now, so I don't think.
Now you got 6-sided dice. Do you want to roll it, or do you want me to do it?
I don't have a note. Roll it.
It's a straight d6. Or I'm sorry, it's 1d8 plus 2. Sorry. You get a 1. Sorry, Nick. Plus 2 is 3 points of damage, and it really seems like it did negligible damage to it. It just doesn't seem as effective.
Very bad.
And with that, Killian, the creature in front of you, with no sound whatsoever coming from it, again reaches towards you with these nasty-looking claws. You feel the claws rake into your flesh. And you take a total of 8 points of necrotic damage. It's halved because you have resistance to necrotic damage. 4 points. So take 4 points of damage. You're lucky you have that. That was nasty.
Very bad.
In addition, you feel a coldness begin to come up through your arm where you were contacted, almost draining you. You lose 1 strength point. So your strength drops by 1.
Okay.
And while he does that, he shifts and floats around you, so that at the moment he's behind the position where he was before. He's between you and Lore. Lore Torin, also, this one right here, somehow managed to slip its way in between the wall and yourself to that position. No, wait, not done. To this position, so he's almost next to the screaming Devon who's calling the name of Kors. Save us, Kors! And it launches an attack against you. Your armor class is?
16, but he does have disadvantage.
19 to a 12. He misses. The other one, on the other hand, sees the screaming Devon swinging crazily with his mace, almost hitting his friend, Lord Torin. Devon was struck. Sorry, Devon. Devon takes a horrendous 9 points of necrotic damage, and his strength is drained a point. Guys, I'm down to 2 hit points. This is Devon speaking in his blinded state. He does not look good right now. You're up, Lore.
I'm going to... Alright, I'm going to move around the one that is in front of Devon. I'm going to move towards Killian, but I'm going to move around and try and flank it.
Now, you're in the attack zone of 2 of these creatures. You're going to move out of them, one of them.
Yep.
That'll be an attack of opportunity.
Yep.
All right, so which way are you going? Here?
Yep. One more forward, and then come down 1. That's where I want to be. I want to be flanking that one.
All right, as you leave this little area here, you are attacked by this one blocking the doorway with an attack of opportunity. And it scores a 16.
That's my armor class.
8 necrotic damage. And your strength drops another 4 points.
What the hell?
What's your strength at?
9.
Ooh, you're average now.
All right, so bonus action. I'm going to use my second wind. It gives me 1d10 plus 2 hit point. No, yes, 1d10 plus 2 hit points.
Temporary?
Healing. Yeah.
So all damage has to come from that first.
Yep.
Is that it?
No, and then I'm going to attack the one that's flanking me, and I'm going to advantage because I'm flanking.
You are. He is a threat, so go for it.
Alright, so that's a total of 21 to hit.
Okay, you hit.
So that's good. 8 points of damage.
What kind?
Slashing.
Doesn't seem to do as much damage, but you did something. Killian, you're not too aware of what's going on behind you where the light source is. There's a lot of screaming and hollering, and
Well, so obviously there is something wrong, something we're not doing right. I mean, we're hitting them, but they're not dying easily. I don't know. Are these stones that say what they say?
Ranctious.
Ranctious. Are they breakable? Can we break them? Can we destroy them? Can we destroy the pile?
They're made of stone, so I imagine you could with a good bludgeoning weapon. But there's no time to think at the moment. 6 seconds per turn round here, so
Let me attack him again with my battle axe.
all right. Your slashing weapon so far has not proved its worth. You have a 15 roll plus your strength modifier, and you hit him solid.
Oh, that's good.
And your damage is 1d8 plus 2. So let's roll this. You get a 7, 8, 9. 9 points of slashing damage. But again, just what would have downed a normal man seems to have less effect on these shadowy, wispy-like creatures.
Hey, DM, can I say that as I was attacking, I was trying to get Devin to use magic?
Yeah, when he gets to it. His turn is last. I didn't skip him, did I?
I think you did this last time.
Yeah, I did. I went right to you and Killian. I skipped him. All right, let me give him an action. Can't go any further. I think I'm going to try and get out of this. I can't disengage. I could disengage and then heal. He's going to come after me. I know he is. I'm the DM. Devin is going to try and risk it. He's going to heal himself right off the bat with a... Yeah, he's going to use Cure Wounds on himself. It's going to be his action. It's instantaneous. 1d8 plus my spellcasting ability mod, which is plus 4. It's plus 4. It is plus 4. So 1d8 plus 4. Let's see what I get. 1. Oh, man. I get 5 hit points back. So he's at 7. And for my movement, I'm going to take the chance. I'm going to move out of that first one's... Well, no, he already did his attack of opportunity.
Uh-huh. So the only one to get an attack of opportunity is the one that is in front of me right now.
Yeah. So he's done, thankfully. So you bought me some time there, Lore. Thank you. All right. So there, he's got some hit points. He's right next to you, which doesn't help you, but at least he's not going to die there. And then they took their actions, or no, you took your action. Killian, you took your action, I believe.
Yeah.
And it goes to the creatures. All right. Lord Torin. This creature does slide here and will provoke an attack of opportunity from a blind Devon. So he's got disadvantage on this attack of opportunity, which I will take. He got, oh God, he's got to take a 3. So whatever. So that's a miss. He moves to this location and then it claws at you, Lord Torin. You take 15 points of necrotic damage.
How much strength?
3 points of strength damage. The second shadowy creature advances forward and attacks Devon. And hits. Uh-oh. Seven points of necrotic damage on Devon. I think that's going to drop him. Yes, he's at 0. He collapses and will start making death savings throws. So Devon collapsed to the ground, screaming, blinded. Starting to make a comeback there, but the creature got a hold of him. Lord Torin, you are still up. How many points you got?
I still have 3 hit points.
All right, so you're looking pretty bad. Killian, it's up to you. Oh, wait a minute. There's one more. One more of these black naughty beasts attacks you, Killian. You easily deflect its clawing attacks. It does not move. And with that, we go to Devon, who gets to take his action again, which is nothing. He has to make a death save. D20. He needs a 10 or greater, or one of his 3 death saves is failed. It's 19. Passed. And Devon is done. It goes to you, Lord.
Alright, first thing, disengage action. So I do not provoke attacks of opportunity, and I run to the door. And I'll grab one of the stones up. Not that way, the other door. And I'm grabbing one of the stones on my way up there.
Okay. 30. That's 30 feet.
Uh-huh.
If you want, I'll let you drop that stone in, because I know what you're trying to do. I'll let you do that as part of your movement for free.
Alright, I'll do it.
As Lord Torin does this, he pulls himself away, dodging and weaving against the clawing attacks of these creatures. Devon collapsed on the ground next to him. With all desperation, Lord Torin, running, managed to slide one of the stones up in his hand that was held earlier by Killian. And as he does so, as he's running towards the door, he almost tosses the stone in that little portal. And as he does so, there was a sudden flash of bright, radiant light. Everybody make a Constitution check.
Alright, so that's a total of 18.
All right, Killian, you got to make a Constitution save. What's your Constitution modifier?
1 second, let me check. I think it's...
I'd have it. Go ahead.
It is 2.
Plus 2?
Yeah.
Okay. This almost blinding light flashes once again for a few seconds, and the whole room magnifies. And suddenly, as you do this, you can see those shadows. They almost disappear for a second, and then suddenly they come back. Maybe a little bit dimmer than they were before. The light disappears, but they're still there, and they're still attacking. Nothing else seems to happen. You both notice this in the craziness of the battle, but as this happens, you see a stone seeming to drop out of the darkness of the ceiling. Well, it's not dark. It's lit by the fallen torch that is next to Devon. You can see the ceiling, but there's another stone that seems to drop and lands on one of the piles.
All right.
And with that, your turn is done. We go to Killian. Just to remind you, Killian, so you got a clear idea what's happening. Devin is collapsed to the ground. It looks like he's dying. You can't be sure, but he's definitely not moving. Two of these shadows are above him. And Lord Torin just did this heroic move in his mind and tossed another stone into the little hole in the door, and the whole room was engulfed in that bright light. Had no real effect in your eyes. You had to squint real hard. Creatures are still there, still attacking, and the flash of light has dissipated. And that happened when he tossed the stone in that little hole in the door.
Yeah. Maybe do this also. So throw one more stone with the inscription on the wall, on the slot. Maybe do this also.
All right. To do that, so you're going to have to move, and if you move more than 5 feet away from him, you're going to provoke an attack of opportunity.
Okay.
Unless he disengages.
Which is an action. And as part of your move, I'll let you scoop up a stone and toss one in as well. But I'm going to make you make a roll on this because Lord Torin is pretty much in the way. But I'll let you attempt it. I'm going to make a dexterity roll. It's a d20 plus your dexterity modifier.
Yes, which is
plus 0.
Dexterity 0, yeah.
Oh, no. All right, you have to beat a DC set by me. And maybe you know what that is, maybe you don't. But I'm going to roll it.